Sweet Ass Garage. Today I want to tackle some of the exhaust stuff. I want to tackle the exhaust manifold. Well, where is the exhaust manifold they were using? It's right over here on the table. I installed it, but then I had to turn around and basically remove it. The reason being, when I went to go put the stud in here, in this particular spot there, and tighten it up, the stud was pulling out, meaning that the threads on that thing are jacked up. They're not necessarily stripped, but they're like too loose where they won't grab anymore. So I'm doing something that, as long as I've been working on cars or whatever, I ain't never had to use this. But let me show you what I'm talking about. We're going to have to use to fix this. Wow, we got a product from Helicoil, which is basically a thread repair kit. When you buy this, you need to know, of course, what the thread pitch is that you're working with. If you can tell right there, it's an M8 by 125. And part of using this kit, it tells you right here on the daggone tap or the dial, whatever you call it, that you need a 21/64 drill bit to get the job done. Normally when you use a tap and die, you have to have that elongated little deal tapped into here where you spin. Matter of fact, let me just show you what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm talking about. Normally you take this thing, loosen it up, you shove that in there, tighten it back down, and it's kind of like a T-handle. But I'm sick of using this for one reason. You can't always get this thing in every single spot. So there is a solution, and let me show you the solution. What your boy got right here is, I don't know the name of it, but instead of using the T-handle deal, you use basically a socket. And all these different sizes right here are based on this bottom half section here. When you use a tap or a die or whatever this section is called, this little square head is always a little bit different as far as all these kits here. So we're gonna find the appropriate size and we're gonna tap this into the cylinder head. And this is a number 6. A number 6 if somebody, if it matters to somebody. So now we're gonna take another one of our tap sockets or die sockets, because this end is also flat. It's a little bit smaller than the previous tap or die, whatever it was that we used. It's in there tight. Now we're gonna take the actual helicoil. One side of it is open, the other back side kind of has like a 90-degree on it, basically to make it stop. What we're gonna do is screw this on there. Kind of fits in loose, but it bottoms out on the back. And then we're gonna take some of this thread locker, the red stuff. Make sure we get some on these threads. And now we get to screw that in. I'm starting to screw it in finger tight, and I can tell that it's kind of tight going in, and then it's got like a spring action to it. So I'm gonna see how far I can get it with my fingers. As you can tell, I overdid it with Loctite, but I'll clean that extra up. Is that all the way in? I might be able to get it all the way in. Yeah, I'm able to do it by hand. So, yeah, I ain't gonna go too ham on it because I don't want to strip it. But let's see, I think it's in there. It's deep in there too, actually. Yup, it's way in there. I'm gonna clean that excess off and let that thing do its work. All right, fam, that's the final product. Got our stud in, tighten it all the way up. So the only thing we need to do now is put the turbo back on. But before we put the turbo back on and put this power steering back on, I wanted to notch out this section or this back half side of the power steering bracket. The bracket bolts up like that. And when it's bolted up, it's kind of hard to get to that bolt right there, or hard to get to the nut. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop this yellow section off.
That car should have been taken off out of her name. Now I got to go through the headache. Because the motor vehicle sales get.
All right, so we got our stud repair taken care of. Everything is tight. I got this on because we need to figure out how to make this pipe go to the driver's side of the intercooler pipe. I've already tested it. I want to go from a 2-inch, which this is, to a 2.5 going down through there. But the problem is this screamer pipe is in the way. So we're gonna take this housing out, and then we're gonna cut this off. And then I think I got a little bit of 1.5 inches, which is what this is. And I'm gonna attempt to move it maybe right over here, or maybe even kind of in between where this dipstick tube is at. About 1.5 hours later, I finally got the daggone turbo outlet flange with the down pipe and the screamer pipe off due to that one stupid nut. So now that I got this stud out, I'm going to probably cut this off, and that way I can get to it and see if I can try to save the stud. I know the stud threads are jacked up, but like I said, I do have a tap and die set that I can repair it.
3 days later.
All right, fam, another day has passed. Off camera, I basically cleaned up both surfaces, the flange of the down pipe, and then I've also cleaned up the pipe on the screamer. I kind of got the orientation somewhat similar to what I'm looking for. And now we are ready to go ahead and put this back on, tack weld it. And then we're gonna go ahead and get all our welding material set up, and we're gonna go ahead and weld this together. Touchdown, resharpen. Wow, look at that. We got that daggone dump tube out of the way, so now we can throw the radiator back in with the fan shroud and see if we can connect this to that right there. But look at all that space we got now. All of that room. All right, so far I think this is kind of the configuration I'm looking at. What came with the car was a 2-inch to 2.5 90. I actually need like a 45, but I think with this being silicone coupling, it can flex a little bit. Of course, it's a 2.5 inch pipe. And all I gotta do down there is make exactly the same thing that I made right here. I forget the angle of it, but I think we can figure it out. And that's what it looked like with the radiator in there. To be honest with you too, y'all comment below, can I get rid of that front motor mount? I feel like there's a motor mount in the back. Of course, the sides are factory, that I might be able to get away with that. Worst case scenario, remodify it where it sits a little bit farther, you know, like towards the motor, kind of out of the way to give me a little bit more space. But that rubber coupler is kind of sitting on that front motor mount. Let me know below if I can get rid of that.
1 week later.
We're gonna start this video off with this internal wastegate. This internal wastegate goes to this big 16G. There's 2 bolt holes on that side where it goes like this and then attaches to that arm right there. As you can tell, there is something missing, the nipple. This nipple is the pressure source, meaning that when the air goes through that, what used to be a nipple, this whole arm right here basically extends out. When I made this intake, the nipple basically pointed directly to the bottom of this intake boot that's on the turbo. And so like a dummy, I tried to bend it without putting no heat on it. And of course it snapped right on off. So I have an idea that I want to attempt. We're gonna see if we can try to fix this. And let me show you my thought process. So it might be hard to tell on camera, but you see that's where the nipple goes right there. Well, if you can see right here where I'm rubbing my thumb at, that's kind of like a raised section. What I'm thinking is I can use the spot weld feature on the Eastwood TIG. I can close that up, drill a hole there on this little bump section, and then we can actually weld a nipple on the outside here. Like I told you, I don't throw anything away. I have no clue what this came off of, but I'm gonna assume it's something like a purge valve or some kind of coolant went through it that been bypassed. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut one of these ends off. I think I'm gonna cut this end off here. We're gonna drill a hole right there, and I'm gonna use the tack weld feature with a combination of air to kind of cool this off. And we're gonna see if we can fuse this together, and then afterwards we're gonna test this thing to make sure it works. There is a diaphragm in here. I'm not sure what material it's made out of. I'm gonna assume it's like a rubber material. So heat will be the enemy in fabricating this, and this is the reason why I would like to use the spot function. All right, so I've already cut that piece away from this section here, so we no longer need that. All we gotta do now is clean this, hit it with a little acetone. But before we need to do that, we're going to drill our hole. Wanna make sure that the drill bit is not too big for this. So I think that's gonna work. May even go a little bit smaller and then step it up. All right, I'm gonna plug the original hole, and I'm gonna hit this little hole that I drilled with some air to make sure that I'm not gonna be wasting my time. What I'm looking for is the rod to move. Yup. So I'm gonna continue on with my theory. I'm gonna have a little bit of filling material. I may even like set it there and then let the tack kind of melt and fill that hole in. See how it work out. That's real hot. Golly, that's hot. Idiot. So that spot welding feature didn't work. I wasn't able to get enough amperage to do what I wanted to do. So what I did, as you can tell, welded it, hit it with compressed air to completely cool it, weld a little bit, hit it with compressed air. Now, let's test this out, see if it works. strong arm the C-clip that goes on there, goes into place. So for backup, get you some of this aircraft style stainless steel wire, the stuff I use in the aviation industry. I forget the diameter, actually I think it's 032. Just wrap that on there, twist it tight with some channel locks, and then snip off the access. Just that easy, so you don't catch your meat. You don't want to catch your meat, man. That hurt when you catch your meat. Let's test it. Good, that junk is tweet, boy. Straight tweet. All right, Speed Ass Garage, I think that's gonna conclude this video. I don't know exactly where it's gonna be. I think next I want to tackle maybe electrical. We may tackle some of the cooling system. I do have to install an aftermarket fan motor. And yeah, I mean, we're pretty close to at least starting it on up. So check you on the next episode. Stick around. I mean, not stick around, but whatever.